Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Sunday, July 24th, 2022. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am here solo today to go over this busy MLB Sunday. We've got a total of 15 games going. For the purposes of this podcast, we will touch and set the stage for all 15 of these games. However, we'll be focusing on the 9-game main slate on Draftkings and Fanduel that starts at 1:35, and the 14-game main slate on Yahoo that starts at the same time. So we'll be going over our normal things here on Coach Talk. We'll talk about our pay-up pitchers, value, fade pitchers, BVP, stacks, HR call, give you a good feel for our look at what the slate's going to be like today. We'll also just touch on all the games. So if there's any advantageous spots for you regarding weather or heat, any spots to fade because of those situations as well, just to give you a good feel for what to prepare for. Then if you're a member and you want to come aboard, go to dfscoachtalk.com. Can sign up right there for as little as a 3-day pass for $10. We're also offering our MLB second half that goes from today all the way until October 1st. That's only $110, and that gives you everything we have, including all of our baseball, golf, MMA, NASCAR, everything going on. And with that package, you also get the first month of the NFL. So it is really something to take advantage of. We're only going to be offering that for about another week. So yeah, if you've been thinking about it, this is definitely the time to jump on it. All right, interesting day yesterday. We had some solid plays. We cashed in some spots, other spots just a little short, but feeling the momentum coming. I think today's going to be a great day. We don't have a million great pitchers or ace pitchers like we did yesterday, so it's going to be a lot more strategic in choosing that SP1 and SP2. That's probably going to make a big difference of hitting on those right pitchers today. All right, so let's jump right into it. From the weather standpoint of all 15 games today, there's only one game that I'm concerned about. So that's a big plus. And it's that Minnesota and Detroit game. Definitely some rain there. Could be a delay. I guess there is a slight possibility of a cancellation. So Minnesota at Detroit is the game that we're going to circle. We'll be watching that very closely, posting the radar in Discord and talking that through. Other than that, though, I think a passing shower maybe in Atlanta for the Angels-Braves game. Same thing in New York for the Padres-Mets. But other than that, it's a perfect hitting day for a lot of places. It's hot. There's some wind blowing out, and we'll go over all of that when we break it down. But at least we're not held captive here watching 4 or 5 games of weather, trying to figure that out. That makes it a lot more fun. We don't have a Coors game. We don't have a Wrigley Win game. And like I say, we don't have a bunch of ace pitchers that you can't fade. So this is my kind of day. I am so fired up because you've got an even slate across the board pretty much here. And the prices are realistically reasonable. There's a couple of really good value plays I think that everybody's going to be able to take advantage of. And, really creates a situation where we can hand build a couple of winning lineups and take advantage of that opportunity. All right, everyone, let's take a look at the slate. The early game that we're not going to be messing with at all is that Cubs-Phillies game. It's a 12:05 game, so you got a very early one. If you want to play that one in a showdown setting, you're welcome to do that. It is a 10 total, so there's expecting a lot of runs in Philly. It's at noon, it's supposed to be 94 degrees in Philly, slight breeze blowing out to right at 9 miles an hour. You have the Cubs with a 4.67 implied total, and the Phillies with a big 5.33. Drew Smiley, the lefty, 15K in the showdown slate, and Bailey Falter 15.3K for the Philadelphia side. So that could be an interesting one. Sounds like a lot of hitting if you're playing that showdown. All right, now we're going to get down to business. This is the main slate that matters. Again, there's 9 games on this slate that starts at 135 for DraftKings and FanDuel, and it will extend these 9 plus the later games for 14 gamer on Yahoo. First one is the Yankees and Orioles right off the bat. We've got 97 hot degrees in Baltimore with a breeze blowing out to left at 9 miles an hour. So more hitting weather there. That certainly counteracts them moving back the fences, I think, when it's that hot and a little breeze blowing out. Total's 9 in that game. Yankees, of course, over 5 implied at 5.19. Baltimore is at 3.81. We've got Nestor Cortez, the lefty, at 8.7K, and Dean Kramer at 7.6K. Next game, 135 as well. It's the LA Angels at the Atlanta Braves. Total of 9 in this game. Very warm. Excuse me. Very warm in Atlanta at 88 degrees. And just a slight breeze there. Nothing to really mention, but it is warm. You've only got a 3.67 implied for the Angels and a 5.33 popular team today, the Braves, it looks like. And they have that 5.33 implied. Reed Detmers, the lefty, at 6.9K takes the hill for the Angels. And Ian Anderson at only 6.5K on DraftKings. Please explain to me how Ian Anderson is 6.5K on DraftKings. I think 100% owned, total misprice, makes absolutely no sense. He's a strikeout pitcher. Angels strike out more than anybody else. Braves are a big favorite. So you'll see that his price on FanDuel makes perfect sense. But on DraftKings and Yahoo, it is 100% broken price. And I believe that Ian Anderson is going to end up being 100% owned in all of my lineups. That's for sure on DraftKings and Yahoo. Just a ridiculous mistake there by DraftKings and Yahoo to price him at $6,536 on Yahoo. So I love it. Free square on those 2 spots, on those 2 sites with Ian Anderson. All right, next game, 135 as well. Toronto Blue Jays, Boston Red Sox. Big total here, 11. Very simple. Toronto Blue Jays 6 implied, Boston 5. So we know that there can be some big runs in this series, as we've seen them probably breaking records after that 28 spot that Toronto hung on the board against them in that. The amazing thing about that game, it was 28-5, and Boston hit 5 home runs, and they lost by 23. So that was pretty funny. But we'll see today if they're going to get back to the same thing with those big totals. You've got 98 degrees in Boston. Good Lord. And wind blowing out to left field at 16 miles an hour. Oh, my goodness. I feel so bad for these 2 gentlemen. Ross Stripling, 6.7K, and Brian Bello at 5.6K. Wow. No thank you pitching today there. And certainly this game will be treated almost like a Coors game today, just because of the heat, the wind, the lesser pitchers. Bello's a youngster. He hasn't really got his feet under him yet. He's got a lot of potential, but he's not pitched well in his first 2 outings. So, yeah, this game will be the highest owned stack game of the day without question. Another 135 game, Miami Marlins, Pittsburgh Pirates, a total of 7.5. You've got a 4.28 implied for Miami, 3.22 for the Pirates. Sandy Alcantara, or is it Sandy Alcantara? This is always the debate around the industry. I think it's Sandy Alcantara, but I could be wrong. He's 10K flat. Mitch Keller, 6.8K, is on the other side of the mound. All right, St. Louis and Cincinnati, 9.5 total in Great American Small Park, 94 degrees, wind blowing a little to left center, 5.11 implied for the Cardinals, 4.39 for the Reds. So nice amount of runs expected in this game. Miles Mikolas, 8.8K. Tyler Mahle, 8.9K. So two decent pitchers, but in a tough spot here with the heat and some hitting potential for sure. 140 Minnesota Twins, Detroit Tigers. You got an 8.5 total in this game. 4.83 implied for the Minnesota Twins, 3.67 for the Detroit Tigers. Sonny Gray, 7.1K, and Rony Garcia at 6.4K in that game. 210 Colorado Rockies, Milwaukee Brewers. You've got a total of 9 played in the Dome there. 3.72 implied for Colorado, 5.28 for the Brewers. Big number for them. Chad Kuhl for the Rockies versus Eric Lauer at 8.3K for the Brewers. Kuhl's cool 6K. Tampa Bay and Kansas City, their first pitch is at 2:10. Warm in Kansas City, 91 degrees, not quite the 102 of yesterday. Breeze blowing in from left at 6 miles an hour. You've got a 4.86 implied for Tampa and a 4.14 for the Kansas City Royals. Jeffrey Springs, the lefty, 8.5K, and Chris Bubich, the lefty, at 5.7K. 210 as well, Cleveland Guardians at the Chicago White Sox. Nice day in Chicago, 82 degrees, breeze blowing out to dead left at 13 miles an hour. 3.56 implied for the Guardians and 3.94 for the White Sox. Shane Bieber and his 9.3K salary against Dylan Cease and his 9.6K. So nice little pitching duel there in Chicago today. 407 we jump to. So now we're out of the main slate games, that 9-game main slate, and there are 5 more games on the slate. These will be separate on DraftKings and Fanduel, but part of the all-day slate on Yahoo. Texas Rangers, Oakland A's, total of 7.5. 3.94 implied for Texas, 3.56 for Oakland. A very pleasant 73 degrees, no wind to speak of in Oakland today. Martin Perez, the lefty, 7.4K versus Paul Blackburn, 6.2K. So interesting matchup there and definitely a pitcher's ballpark. 410 as well. It's Houston at Seattle in the Dome there. 7 is the total, 3.5 implied for both sides. Houston's trying to sweep the 3-game set after breaking the long winning streak from Seattle. So that would be a tough way to lose your winning streak by getting swept. And it's going to be a great matchup. This is the best pitching matchup of the day. Framber Valdez, 8.7K versus Robbie Ray, 9.2K. So 2 good pitchers, 2 good hitting squads. Should be a great game. Also at 410, we have the Washington Nationals, Arizona Diamondbacks. 9.5 is the total. 4.63 implied for Washington. 4.87 for Arizona. So big numbers for playing in the Dome in Arizona. Eric Fetty, 5.9K versus Corbin Martin, 5.6K. That explains why we have a bigger total there of 9.5 with 2 very subpar pitchers. So could be a sneaky game to stack or mini stack. Last 2 games on the slate, 410, San Francisco Giants, LA Dodgers. This has been a fun series, and this game is a great matchup as well. Total of 8 here in LA, 81 degrees, slight breeze blowing out to left. 3.22 implied for the Giants, 4.78 implied for the Dodgers. Alex Cobb, 6.9K versus Clayton Kershaw, 9.5K. So good matchup there. Should be an excellent game. And then the night game on the slate, the ESPN game, it will be standing alone showdown, 7 o'clock Eastern, Padres versus Mets. 7.5's the total, 3.67 implied for the Pods. Mets 3.83. Nice matchup here. Joe Musgrove at 15.9K in that showdown, and Carlos Carrasco at 14.7. And in New York, 90 degrees, wind blowing out to left at 18 miles an hour. So 7.5 is a low number for a game with those conditions, but you do have Musgrove versus Carrasco. All right, that gives you the breakdown of all 15 games and what to expect. For the purposes of the picks today, again, we're working off of the 9-game main slate for DraftKings and Fanduel. All right, let's take a look at pay up pitcher for today. It is Sandy Alcantara or Alcantara. I get both guys. I like him today. I think he's in a great spot. I just in Pittsburgh, Pitchers Park. It is a bit warm, but Alcantara has been terrific. He's been striking a bunch of guys out. His last multiple games have been very impressive, and I think he just makes perfect sense today. So I'm going to dig in on his stats a little bit just to give you an idea how hot he's been. And, I know Pittsburgh's a scrappy team, but in that ballpark and, facing a quality pitcher, they just have so many young players. I mean, they need a season or two to develop some of these guys. They're really somewhat playing their AA and AAA players in the majors and just trying to get some experience from them. So in the last several games here, let's look at what Sandy's been doing because he's really been on his game. How about against Philly? He threw 58 on the board with 12 Ks. Against the Mets 2 games ago, 37 with 4 Ks. Against the Angels, 64 on the board, 8 innings, 2 hits, no walks, 10 Ks. So there you go, 3 in a row, just fantastic. He really hasn't had a bad outing in a long time. Just a really solid play. Now, you do have to spend money for him. He's my pay-up pitcher. That's why he's the pay-up pitcher. He's 10K on DraftKings, 11K on FanDuel, and 55 on Yahoo. So you do have to pay the piper here. I think a lot of people will be wanting to save some money and maybe not pay up for him, but I think he deserves it 100%, and he'll be in a majority of my lineups for sure. As far as my value pitcher, I already talked about it. I loved him anyway, and then I saw the price mishap, and I'm like, no problem. We'll do this. So Ian Anderson, 6,500 on DraftKings, laughable. He's going to be 1,000,000% owned, but you just take the chalk, eat it. It's saving so much you can't miss it. 9,000 on FanDuel makes sense. I think that's a good price. And then only 36, another giveaway on Yahoo. And he's pitched just fine. Now, he doesn't go super deep. I get that. 5 1/3, 5 1/3, and 5 in his last 3 games. And, he doesn't strike out a million guys, but he strikes out enough, to get to that number. 5 Ks, 5 Ks, 6 Ks. And, it's consistent. Doesn't get bombed. He did get smashed by Philly back in June. But Phil, that he's consistent. I don't expect him to score 40 or anything of that nature, but a good 28 to 34 would be a good range for a pitcher that's that cheap, and that would really complement Alcantara or Alcantara. I'm going to say both so people can't say that's wrong. So that's my the way I'm looking as far as where I want to go with my 2 pitchers. I feel pretty good about that. There are some other good options, but I really like where those 2 are sitting today. As far as my fade pitcher, I mean, there's a lot of obvious fades. You certainly don't want to play any from either pitcher from Toronto, Boston. I'm a little nervous about playing guys from St. Louis, Cincinnati. That could be, a shootout. You've got, Houston and Seattle being the game with the really strong pitching, but that's on the secondary slate. But really for me, It's a tough call because there are a few pitchers here that I've tried to decide between. There's nobody that stands out that I say this guy is terrible. He has no business being, that price and being picked that much. But this is a weird one. I'm going Nestor Cortez for the Yankees. His price is pretty high. He just seems to be flattening out a little bit for the Yankees. I don't think his stuff is that great. I think he really pitched over his head that first part of the season, and it's starting to regress back. He's 7-3 with a 263. I respect that, and it is in Baltimore, but it's hot. There's some wind blowing out, and I respect Baltimore's bats. I mean, Mullins, Mancini, Hayes, Mountcastle, Santander, Rutschman, even Urias, Odor at the bottom, Mateo, those guys all hit. They have a nice young hitting team, I think, that are going to give people trouble. So for the money that Cortez costs and the temptation to want to take a chalky Yankees team for the pitcher, I'm going to fade him. All right, let's jump right to BVP. For BVP for me, I am going to go with one Charlie Blackmon. Sorry about that crash, but he is going against Eric Lauer and the Brewers today. But man, has Blackmon owned Mr. Lauer in a small sample size. How about 11 for 20 with 5 extra base hits, 2 homers, 4 RBIs. He's walked once. And these numbers are impressive for Blackmon against Lauer. 1571 OPS, a cool 1,000 slugging, 571 OBP, and like I said, 550 average. So Charlie Blackmon, I think, will get it done against Eric Lauer for my BVP play for the day. For my HR call today, I am going to go to one Mr. Where is he? Jose Abreu for the White Sox against Mr. Shane Bieber. He's 10 for 36, 278 against Shane Bieber, which is really good considering Biebs had some of those big years. And he's got 3 home runs against him. He's also walked a couple of times. He's got an 844 OPS, 528 slugging, 316 OBP, and 278 average. But I think he can square him up in a warm day today and a nice day against Cleveland. And Jose Abreu is my home run pick of the day. All right, before we jump into stacks and prize picks, real quickly wanted to mention, if you're watching this on YouTube, big favor, take a second here, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. That subscription means a lot. We're chasing up to 2,500 subscribers here, and we'd love for you to be a part of that. Hit the little alert button in the upper corner. That is key because it lets you know when any of our podcasts post, so you can be one of the first to see it. Get in there. I'm generally going to jump in there, answer questions, and chat during the premiere. So definitely hit that alert button so you know when our podcast posts. Also, if you want to become a member at Coach Talk, go to dfscoachtalk.com. You can sign up for any of our memberships there. If you're looking to play some games, if you want to make some wagers, betus.com.pa is the best place to go. I've been there 16 and a half years. Love it. Great place to put wagers. They have just about everything you can imagine. And if you go to betus.com.pa and you sign up for the first time, it has to be a first-time deposit, and all you have to deposit is $79. And you play that $79 in any way you want, build your pot up in BetUS. I know our own Deb at Deluxe, she did that when she first became a member at Coach Talk and built up a nice pool of money in BetUS and then ended up pulling that out. So, but the cool thing about it, if you do that, you get 2 free months of Coach Talk. That's right, 2 free months. That's $150 value in itself. And all you have to do, as soon as you sign up, use the promo code Coach Talk when you sign up. Just jump on Twitter. We're at DFS Coach Talk and just say signed up for the BetUS package. And then what we'll do is we'll immediately send you an invite. Within a few seconds, you'll be in our Discord and you have full access to a 2-month membership at Coach Talk. So take advantage of that as well. I think you'll love the opportunity there. All right, my stacks today, I've got a couple that I like. There's some obvious ones that are going to be chalky. We've already touched on a lot of those. People are going to be pounding that Toronto-Boston game and completely understand that. People will be playing the Yankees quite a bit. Certainly understand that with the way those guys are hitting it. But a couple of teams I'm going to go for that are going to be a little more under the radar. I like the Atlanta Braves today against Reed Detmers. That group of righties they have at the top, Olson's the only lefty out of this group. Acuna, Swanson, Olson, Riley, Ozuna, Arnaud, Duvall, Arcia. So, I mean, they've got a bunch of righties that can smash the ball. It's nice and warm in Atlanta, and they're not going to be a chalk stack, but I am definitely going to be on them. My sneaky stack today that, I sort of mentioned it earlier, I like the Tampa Bay Rays against Chris Bubic in Kansas City. It's still very hot there. Looks like Arozarena will be back in the lineup. He was scratched yesterday, but we'll keep a close eye on that. But they just have a lot of guys that hit the ball. I mean, they're 10 games over 500, and their hitting's been fairly solid. It's not like they're dominating on the mound. And I just like this matchup against Bubic. They got shut down a bit last night, so I think they bounce back with some of these guys in the middle of the lineup. The key is if Arozarena is in there because it makes everything else work for them. So I think that'll be a nice low-owned group that you can focus on. And then if you're playing a later slate, you may want to look at Arizona here. They're another sneaky stack against Fetty in Arizona. They've got a big run total. And some of those guys in the middle, Marte, Walker, Peralta, Varsho, Kelly, I think, you've got an opportunity for some low-owned guys if you're playing that later slate. All right, let's jump to my 2 PrizePicks giveaways here for our listeners. And we appreciate every single one of you. And I know right now you're saying, Coach, thank you for these 2 winners. We've been red hot on PrizePicks. So you're going to hit that thumbs up. You're going to hit that subscribe button and the little alert up in the corner. And if you're listening at any of our podcast landing sites, whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, you name it, just take a second, give a 5-star rating, the top rating, and a quick comment. If you do those 2 things, you qualify for a drawing at the end of the month, which is only a week away. We have 1 week left in Jaloon. Yeah, Jaloon. There's only 1 week left in Jaloon, and also known as July. So do that. Give us a 5-star and make a comment, and then we'll get in there. Colin will do his randomizer. Somebody's going to win a free 1-month membership at Coach Talk. And that will be for Jaloon, not for Jaloon, but for August. All right, my 2 plays today. I'm going with Ian Anderson over 33.5 fantasy score. I have him at 36, so I feel comfortable giving that one out. And again, he's so dirt cheap on Draftkings and Yahoo that you need to have him in 100% of your lineups in those 2, in my opinion, at that price. So 33.5 over Ian Anderson. And my hitter, again, going with Charlie Blackmon. I read all those numbers out and how he smashes Lauer. So Blackmon, 6.5 is the fantasy score number. So that I love. I mean, the fact that it's sub 7 with that BVP that he has. So I'm all over Charlie Blackmon, 6.5 over for my second PrizePicks play. All right, my friends, I think that is everything for this wonderful Sunday. We have a great day here at Coach Talk. We have some phenomenal sweats for golf. We're in the top 3 in some of the big contests for the weekend only golf for the 3M. So hopefully they get that in. They were delayed a little bit yesterday, but squeezed in the 3rd round. I'll also be giving out in Discord some 4th round, final round selections. So hopefully we can double dip and absolutely crush that PGA slate. We also have NASCAR today. And we've had so much fun. We've been hot in NASCAR. Mike S. is the NASCAR king, and Colin as well. So we'll be posting those lineups. So between NASCAR and PGA, and then, of course, all the MLB action all day, it is going to be a really fun and profitable day here at Coach Talk. So I hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow's going to be a fun baseball one. Deb and Crash flip-flop days. Deb's usually in here with me on Tuesday, but she's going to be in here on Monday. So she'll be with me tomorrow. We'll do a two brains lineup because Deb's always awesome at building those. And then our man Crash will be back with me on Tuesday. So we've got a great week ahead and a phenomenal day. Today, we'd love to have you join us. We appreciate you. And, give us a quick note or thumbs up. Give us some comments, questions. If you want to find us on Twitter, we're all at DFS Coach Talk. And I am at Joe Sarvadi, JoeSarvadi. All right, my friends, have a great Sunday. Win some cash, and let's have some fun. And we'll be back again tomorrow when we look to crush it in MLB, DFS, and PrizePicks.